Retrieving upset guests is occasionally a part of the job description for talk show hosts like Kelly Ripa. As it happens, this is precisely what occurred during a recent episode of the show. What happened then, and how did Kelly have to become the hero in the end? In her years as a talk show host, Kelly Ripa has witnessed it all. These days, Kelly Ripa is an industry veteran when it comes to hosting a well-liked talk show. For decades, she has been honing her trade. She and Regis Philbin were co-hosts at first. At one point, she even had Wheel of Fortune and American Idol host Ryan Seacrest as a co-anchor. These days, Ripa and her husband, Mark Consuelos, share hosting responsibilities. But even though Kelly Ripa's show has been a family affair for a while, she still needs to be ready for anything that might happen and act appropriately. As it happens, this is precisely what also occurred recently. An actor's on-air prank backfires severely. Recently, Josh Gad persuaded Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa to allow him to play an on-air joke on Ashley Park, who was there to promote another project. Even though it was intended to be humorous, this practical joke had a significant negative impact. Josh Gad approached Ashley Park from behind and successfully executed a jump scare during the taping of her segment with Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. As the audience erupted in laughter, Ashley Park fell to the ground in shock and fear. Ashley Park and Josh Gad previously collaborated on the drama A Tree Fell in the Woods. Park claimed that Josh Gad would also play practical jokes on the shoot. Thus, by giving Park the fear of her life, the Frozen actor was essentially perpetuating a tradition. Kelly Ripa jumped right in to save the day. Kelly Ripa immediately went into Mama Bear mode after this unexpected prank and saved Ashley Park. She wrapped her arms around Park to protect him. Following that, Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa released a public service announcement urging people to never again harm Ashley. It appeared to be all in good humor at the end of the day. Additionally, this part had a humorous moment that viewers can revisit and rewatch as many as they'd like. You never know exactly what to anticipate when Ripa presents her show, so it's obvious that she has to do a lot of different things. She put herself in protective mode this time, and everything turned out well. Live television thrives on surprises, but no one watching Live E with Kelly and Mark could have predicted the heart-stopping moment when Kelly Ripa stepped off her host chair to rescue a distraught guest in real time. For a program celebrated for its lighthearted banter, celebrity interviews, and spontaneous charm, the incident brought a rare dose of raw humanity that reminded fans why Kelly has been at the helm for more than 2 decades. The morning that took a turn. The episode began like any other. Kelly Ripa and her husband, co-host Mark Consuelos, entered the studio to applause, trading jokes about who stole the last coffee pot at home. The day's lineup promised laughs. A quirky cooking demonstration, a pop star promoting a new single, and, most notably, a small business owner from Ohio invited to share her inspirational story. Her name was Marissa, a 38-year-old baker who had won a national contest sponsored by the show. The prize included airtime to present her pastries and discuss her journey of turning a family recipe into a thriving business. She arrived with trays of delicate sugar cookies decorated with autumn leaves, the kind of detail that usually delights the studio audience. But from the start, something seemed off. A guest in distress. Marissa smiled tightly as she arranged her baked goods, but viewers could see her hands trembling. When Kelly and Mark began their friendly questions, "How did you start baking? What's your favorite cookie?" Marissa's voice cracked. She stumbled over words, her eyes darting toward the audience as if the studio lights were suddenly too bright. Mark leaned in with concern, but it was Kelly who noticed the way Marissa's breathing quickened. Years of live television had trained her to spot a guest in trouble before things spiraled. She put down her cue cards and gently touched Marissa's hand, a gesture that grounded the moment. "Hey," Kelly said softly, not for the cameras, but for the woman beside her. "Take a breath. You're safe here." The audience quieted. What was meant to be a cheerful segment on cookies now looked like it might collapse into panic. Kelly steps in instead of steering the conversation back to pastries. Kelly made a bold choice. She addressed the reality of what was happening. Sometimes these lights and cameras can feel overwhelming, she told both Marissa and the millions watching at home. You don't have to be perfect. We want to hear you, not polished speech. That acknowledgement seemed to break something open. Marissa exhaled shakily, confessing on air that she'd almost canceled her trip. She explained she was battling anxiety and that her appearance on national TV was both an honor and a terrifying hurdle. Her bakery had grown beyond what she ever imagined, but the pressure to represent herself well was crushing. Kelly listened, really listened, without rushing the moment. She squeezed Marissa's hand again and said, "You are already enough. You don't need to prove anything to us." The audience erupted in applause, not for cookies, but for courage, turning a breakdown into a breakthrough. Once Marissa felt steadier, Kelly suggested they skip the scripted promo and instead share a simpler story. "Tell us about the first time you baked with your grandma," she prompted. This pivot unlocked a wave of warmth. Marissa described standing on a stool in her grandmother's kitchen, learning to roll dough and sneaking chocolate chips when no one was looking. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they weren't from panic. They were from memory and love. Kelly nodded knowingly, chiming in with her own anecdotes of messy kitchens and childhood treats. Mark jumped in too, lightening the mood with a story of his own disastrous attempt at brownies. Slowly, laughter filled the studio again. The tension lifted. By the end of the segment, Marissa had found her footing. She even guided Kelly through icing a cookie, joking that the host was more Picasso than pastry chef. The audience roared with delight, and what could have been a viral disaster transformed into an unforgettable moment of connection. The aftermath. Social media exploded with praise. Clips of Kelly comforting Marissa spread rapidly, captioned with phrases like, "This is why Kelly Ripa is a national treasure," and "kindness on live TV." Viewers who had struggled with anxiety themselves felt seen and validated. Many shared their own stories, thanking the show for showing vulnerability instead of glossing it over. Marissa's bakery, ironically, sold out of cookies within 24 hours. Orders poured in from across the country, not just because people wanted her pastries, but because they wanted to support a woman brave enough to show her humanity on screen. Later that week, Marissa posted on her bakery's Instagram, "I thought I ruined my big moment on national TV. Instead, Kelly Ripa gave me the gift of grace. I will never forget the way she held my hand and told me I was enough. Thank you for reminding me that being real is more powerful than being perfect." Why it struck a chord. In an age where daytime TV often prioritizes polished performances, the segment revealed something rare: authenticity. Kelly didn't save the show by keeping it moving. She saved the person sitting next to her. It wasn't about ratings or rehearsed banter. It was about empathy. Fans pointed out that this is what makes Kelly Ripa unique. She's funny, sharp, and unfiltered, yes, but she also knows when to step away from the script. She's built a career on connecting with people, and this moment crystallized that gift. The bigger lesson: what happened on Live E wasn't just a blip of television drama. It was a reminder of the human behind the headlines. Everyone, whether they run a bakery or host a national talk show, has moments of fear and fragility. The way Kelly met that fear with compassion set an example not only for other TV hosts, but for anyone watching. Mark summed it up best during the following day's show. "My wife has a superpower. It's not just making people laugh, it's making people feel safe." Kelly brushed off the compliment with her usual humility, joking that she only did it so she could get a cookie out of the deal. But viewers knew better. A moment that will be remembered. Long after the trays of cookies were gone, long after the applause faded, one thing remained: the image of Kelly Ripa reaching across a table, steadying a stranger's trembling hand. In that small gesture, she demonstrated the kind of empathy that transcends television. For fans, it wasn't just another celebrity interview or cooking demo. It was a reminder that sometimes the best rescue doesn't involve drama or spectacle. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting beside someone in their fear and reminding them they're not alone. And in doing so, Kelly Ripa proved yet again why Live is more than just morning entertainment. It's a place where real life, with all its chaos and courage, unfolds before our eyes.